Just about a year ago, I set a goal to run the 2024 New York City Marathon. Goal for 2024 is...
You signed up for a marathon, did you not?
Okay, I'm not signed up for the marathon yet. I have verbally committed to the marathon many times, and yesterday, I did it. The New York City Marathon is super hard to get a spot for, but I had the opportunity to run it. So even though I've never really been a runner, I decided to go for it and start training, which taught me a lot of things. One, training for a marathon is super hard. Who knew? And two, this is the largest marathon in the world, so there is a ton of work, money, and organizations involved in making it happen. So I figured if I'm going to train this hard and learn this much about how marathons work, I might as well turn it into content for you guys. This video is sponsored by HOKA, but more on that later. I did 6 miles today at a 13-minute pace, so some good and bad, but that's okay. I can get faster. I have plenty of time. It's still August. I'll get my mileage up. I'll get my time down, and I'll be fine. First, I had to talk with the people actually putting on the race, the nonprofit New York Roadrunners.
My name is Ted Metellus. I am the Senior Vice President of Events at New York Roadrunners and the race director of the TCS New York City Marathon.
Ted's job is dealing with the overarching logistics and operations of the marathon, which starts way ahead of time.
We're planning 2 years in advance, working with our local agencies, all of the borough planning, all of the venues that we work closely with, our participants, messaging and communications with them. All of those things tie into the planning that New York Roadrunners is responsible for.
All right, pause. New York Roadrunners is also responsible for all the costs of putting this on, but Ted wouldn't tell me exactly how much those were.
I think we keep that TBD.
Yeah.
So I did some digging and found that last year, New York Roadrunners had $98 million in expenses. But from what?
Well, there's vendor services that we have to get. So when you think about portalets, lots of those out there that we have. So those are all upfront costs that we have to factor into some of the apparel and some of the gear that the athletes have, some of the venue components that are in play as well.
New York Roadrunners also has costs from city services like NYPD shutting down and securing roadways and getting permits from City Hall. So while I was sitting with Ted, and since he's my friend now, I wanted to see if he thought I had a chance of actually winning the marathon. Me, the 2024 New York City Marathon winner. Do you think I have a chance of winning with a 10-minute mile time?
You have a chance of winning your race.
Suddenly, it's like Ted wasn't my friend at all. But whatever, moving on for now. In 2023, New York Roadrunners had $103 million in revenue.
It's a combination of entry fees, sponsorship components, and donations.
Marathon entry fees are $315 if you're not a member, and $255 if you are a member of New York Roadrunners. Just from those fees, New York Roadrunners is making $15 million. And of course, sponsorships bring in some major money as well. For the past decade, the New York City Marathon's naming sponsor has been Tata Consulting Services. They've renewed their contract through 2029 and reportedly plan to spend $40 million a year sponsoring races in that time. Now, that's not all going to New York. They're also the naming sponsor of the London Marathon and smaller races around the world, but it's definitely still a huge amount of money going to New York Roadrunners. While TCS cuts one of the fattest checks for the marathon, there's also plenty of other sponsors. New Balance is the official merch sponsor, Tiffany is a sponsor that also contributes to the prizes, and even Shake Shack just became the official burger of the marathon. So why does a consulting company care for a multi-million-dollar marathon sponsorship? All right, we are in it now. We are in the double digits. I just did 10 miles. I'm feeling really good. It was crazy hot today, so really looking forward to some fall weather training. Would be nice. Hopefully on race day it's, not a million degrees. Why do you guys care to sponsor a marathon?
For us, the value of sponsoring the marathon goes well beyond just driving brand impact or even reaching customers. And we do truly view it as an investment in our communities, specifically around New York.
TCS also made the Marathon app, which is a chance to show off their tech to potential customers with more advanced runner tracking than other races. Have you gotten the effect you wanted from sponsoring the marathon?
Oh, absolutely. We've jumped from $3 billion in brand value to $19 billion in brand value since our start of our title sponsorship in New York. We think that running is the new golf in many ways.
So for TCS, the sponsorship is about giving back to the cities it's based in, increasing their name recognition, and getting in front of decision makers, many of whom are runners. While I'm on these long, boring training runs, thinking about nothing and wishing I was dead, I keep having these intrusive thoughts, like what if a pothole shatters my ankle? And what if a family of tourists on electric city bikes gets onto the course and runs me over? But then I remembered that won't happen, because Mark promised me it wouldn't.
I'm Mark Levine, Manhattan Borough President.
Mark told me all the ways the city helps with the marathon and how they prevent things like potholes and groups of runaway tourists.
The Department of Transportation starts work on this 12 weeks out. because they have to look over every inch of the 26-mile marathon route and make sure the pavement is smooth, that there's no defects. You cannot have a pothole along the route on race day. If a crack emerges the night before, they'll have an emergency repair so that by the morning of marathon day, it's a pristine 26 miles.
The DOT also removes bike racks, city bike docks, and street signs that are in the way. Over the years, the city and New York Roadrunners have worked together to make the event as safe as possible. On race day, there's an army of city workers, a couple thousand police officers, New York City Parks Department helping with the route, and 200 EMS workers, so you're never more than a few blocks from help.
The MTA actually is one of the most active agencies. First thing is they have to close down the Verrazano Bridge.
If you've been in the city on race day, you know that traffic is insane because of all the road and bridge closures. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge out of Staten Island is one of the most contentious areas that has to close down. It averages 200,000 drivers daily, and New York Roadrunners has to pay the MTA $150,000 for the personnel costs linked to closing it down. And earlier this year, the MTA floated the idea of charging New York Roadrunners $750,000 for the toll revenue it loses on race day, but the idea was dropped after pushback.
And then once the race day is concluded, then you've got the cleanup. And last year there were 200,000 pounds of refuse that the Department of Sanitation had to pick up.
So the city puts a lot into this, but as a recent first-time taxpayer, I wanted to make sure they're spending my money well.
Some of the workers, whether they're sanitation or police or EMS or DOT, are working their normal shift. That was already part of the city budget. A lot of them are above and beyond, and they're probably getting paid overtime. I don't know the exact cost. It's in the millions for sure. I feel that's a good investment. I use the word investment because we're getting a return on that.
Like I said before, the New York City Marathon is the world's largest marathon. 50,000 runners from all over the world and 2 million spectators. So it is great for businesses in the city.
For the days before and after the marathon, you cannot get a hotel room in New York City. You can barely get a restaurant table in New York City. People are coming here, they're spending money, they're probably also gonna go shopping, probably gonna see a show, maybe go to a museum. The total impact is estimated to be about $500 million. Wow. But even beyond the money, this is good for the image of the city. It's good for the morale of the city. It lifts our own spirits. So I think this is absolutely worth every single hour of overtime that we put into this race.
Selfishly, as someone running this year, of course I agree the marathon is worth the investment. But I think I'd still agree otherwise. I've watched the marathon for the past 2 years, and it really is the most wholesome day of the year with everyone out cheering each other on. All right, we've talked about all the groups that support and fund the race, but we're still missing the most important part, the runners.
I am feeling absolutely electric. I just ran 14 miles. I was feeling really bad because I hadn't run at all this weekend. I was falling off the training plan. And then now I just busted this out after work. It is Monday night. I'm back on track.
New York Roadrunners gives out 14,000 spots for the marathon to charities. It's about a quarter of the total runners. And those charity spots raise over $50 million a year. I'm running the marathon with Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a mentoring organization that serves 2,500 kids a year across the city. I've been a Big Sister in the community mentoring program for a year now, and it's really fun to see the impact that the organization has up close. Me and my little Tamara do a ton of random, fun activities together across the city, and in theory, along the way, I teach her something useful. I hope, anyway. I sat down with Big Brothers Big Sisters to find out how the marathon supports their efforts. How much do you all raise through the marathon?
So we raise about $45,000 a year, which equates to supporting about 24 Bigs and Littles.
They get about 10 spots a year that they give out to their volunteers and donors as a thank you for their work.
Not everyone has the capacity to become a mentor themselves, and I think that this is a great way that they can contribute their support.
So partnering with the marathon goes a long way for charities, not only as a way to fundraise, but also as a way to engage with their volunteers.
Just real quick, can you just look into the camera and tell them that I actually volunteer here and I'm a good person?
Macy is an awesome volunteer with Big Brothers.
And a good person.
And a good person. For Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, she is on our Young Professional Committee's e-board. She's also a Big. She's awesome.
You heard it here first. I'm a nice person and no one can say anything else.
So while I'm running this to be a good person for charity, there are some people who just want to show off. So with race day coming up, it's time to suss out some of my competitors, some of whom are elite professional athletes, like Olympic marathon runner Dakota Lindworm. I got to chat with her about what role marathons play in her career as a professional runner.
I think marathons are like the lifeblood. It's a very consistent way to make money.
Dakota has been sponsored by Puma since 2021, and her contract with them rewards her based on her performance in marathons specifically.
If you run under 2:29, maybe it's another $1,000. Or if you're top 10 at a world major marathon, it's X more dollars for the year. The marathon is like what we schedule absolutely everything around, at least I do.
So during this year's Olympics, we learned that a lot of professional athletes need second jobs. Do you have jobs outside of being a professional runner?
Up until making the Olympic team, I was working full-time as a paralegal and part-time as a coach. Since making the Olympic team, it got too chaotic, so I do still coach on the side, but I'm no longer a paralegal.
For professional runners like Dakota, marathons are their main way to make money through prize pools and bonuses in their contracts. Plus, the exposure they get from these high-profile races gives them more opportunities for side income, like brand partnerships and speaking events. And the big marathons actually pay pro runners to come, which is a huge deciding factor for these athletes, since they make most of their money from this, but can only run 2 or 3 marathons a year.
The bigger races are able to pay appearance fees, flights, hotels. They really take care of you completely while you're there.
Have you run all the world marathons?
I have not. I've done all 3 on US soil, but I've never made it across the pond.
Do you have any plans to?
I do. That's where like money kind of comes into it. Those European races don't typically pay for appearance fees for Americans. You start to think about like, is it worth it to go to London and lose an appearance fee, but to maybe run faster?
Now that she gave me all her secrets, I wanted to get in her head before the race.
Do you think you're faster than me? Let's both say our marathon mile time on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
5:30.
5:29.
Oh, okay.
Oh!
You got me. Oh, well, I'll see you on the start line then.
Do you want to, we could run next to each other and chat if you want.
Okay, that sounds good. As long as I can beat you right at the end.
I can let you win. I'm just doing this for fun, like you need it for work.
So Dakota's on board to run with me as long as I let her win, which like fine. So now I just need my best friend Ted to let me run in the pro division.
You're the race director. Can I get in the professional division? Because I don't have a watch. And I would really like a Tiffany watch. Do you think we're friends?
We are. That's sweet, but the short answer is no.
Could I start at like mile 20 while the pro runners start at mile 1?
Unfortunately not. You'll have to start at the start line in Staten Island.
And after all that, still looks like I'm gonna have to run this thing fair and square.
Okay, I just finished my longest run before race day. That was 18 miles. My knee was kind of killing me from like mile 9, so that was a brutal second half. If I'm feeling like that on race day, that would not be great. I'm gonna try to stay off it. I mean, I'm tapering now. Overall, I think I'm feeling 6 out of 10 right now.
The good news is I don't have time to be worried about the running because I'm worried about the video turning out. All right, we're here in Staten Island, waiting around to start, and I'm getting really excited. I feel like I have this extra layer of appreciation for everything now that I know how much money and time and how many people it took to make this day happen for all the runners. I'm not running with the professional division. I'm running in the correct group for my pace, which is the very last one, but that's okay. The professionals are almost finished by now. They started 2 hours ago. Just got 20 rounds run, and Dakota is already finished.
All right, I'm about a third of the way in. I'm feeling good. I've had some tough moments, but a lot of water, a lot of gels. Just about to be at mile 10. Still feeling pretty good. Just passed 2 groups of my friends. Almost halfway. Still feeling good, but we've got the bridge coming up. Okay, I'm about to be in the Bronx. I'm not tired, but my feet really hurt. I feel like I can feel my arches collapsing, but I just realized if I finish within the next hour-ish, I'll make my goal of under 5 hours. It's gonna take just about everything I have to keep up a 10-minute mile time. So we'll see how this goes. I wanna lock in. Just past mile 18, which means every step I take right now is the new furthest I have ever run, and that feels electric.
And even though I've spent the last several weeks finding out exactly what level of planning goes into this, running through all of it still seemed like a feat of logistics and community. So now, the only thing left was to become the 2024 New York City Marathon champion.
I did it. I won the 2024 New York City Marathon.
Hey, have you been thinking to yourself this whole time, wow, Macy's outfits look epic. Where did she get those sick shoes? She looks so fast in them. Well then, do I have good news for you. It's all HOKA. I've been running in the new HOKA Mach X2s, which have been perfect for speed training. They're light and super breathable, and they have this P-Bax plate which helps with support and propulsion. I'm not a shoe scientist, so I don't know exactly how it works, but I do know that I feel so fast in these. And again, you can't ignore the fact that they just look great. It takes a lot to be the best dressed person on running paths in New York, but in these, I feel like a serious contender. So if you also want to look this cool and run this fast, go try the HOKA Mach X2s for yourself.
Let's go! Hey, what's up? You guys doing anything good today? I'm so bored.